Namaskar. Welcome to this session on letting go of vices in the series Bhagavad Gita in daily life. The greatest minds are capable of the greatest vices as well as of the greatest virtues. And this fact we know in our day-to-day life, how everyone has their own positive and not so-called positive or negative aspects. So we all have our own virtues and our own vices. And the journey of life is to first annihilate or let go of our vices. We have to let go of these demonical values or asuri sampatti as Sri Krishna describes it in Bhagavad Gita. And only then we can make some place in our hearts, our minds to imbibe what is called as the virtues or the divine qualities or the Daivi Sampatti. We have already talked about this in one of the previous sessions, how we can imbibe what are these Daivi Sampatti that Sri Krishna is talking. But before we can imbibe this Daivi Sampatti, we have to let go of our vices because our mind is filled with all these negative emotions, as we call them. And that's why we need to get rid of them. But before that, we need to understand what are they, how they are created, and how we can get rid of them. And this in itself, this journey is called creating the purity of the mind, or Antakaran Shuddhi, which creates a quiet and a still mind, which ultimately is a candidate which is eligible for attaining this divine knowledge that Shri Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of our own self, the knowledge of the eternal existence, which is also called Atma Jnana or Brahma Jnana. It is one and the same in the eyes of our scriptures. And then ultimately the idea is to assimilate this knowledge in our life so that we can put it into our practice, we can put it in our life, our day-to-day acharana or our actions and our life. And this leads to our final goal of liberation, freedom from all our limitations, which is also called moksha, attaining that oneness with the divinity, which is the final goal according to our scriptures. And we need to understand that all of us have these divine and demonical values or asuri sampatti and devi sampatti. And let us see what Shri Krishna tells about the asuri sampatti within us. So 16th Adhyaya of Shri Bhagavad Gita is devoted to this Daivi and Asuri Sampatti. In the first three shlokas, Bhagavan talks about the Daivi Sampatti, and then in the next, starting from the fourth shloka, Bhagavan Shri Krishna talks about the Asuri Sampatti. And he starts with this shloka. He says, "O Arjuna, these are the people who are born with the vices, the Asuri Sampatti. Which are those?" He says, Dambhaha. Dambhaha means hypocrisy. They do something, they speak something else. They are not, they are not simple. They don't have the kind of, similarity between the words, action and deeds. Darpa. They act with a lot of pride. They have a lot of ahankara, abhimana, ego. They sometimes resort to krodha, anger, violence, parushya. They are quite harsh in their actions, in their words to other people, in their day-to-day behavior. And all this is because of ajnana, ignorance, not the correct understanding. In the eyes of Shri Krishna, this is because of lack of proper understanding that we resort to all these vices in our life, abhimana, krodha, moha, and all this. So essentially, vices are our biggest obstacles, our enemies in life. Our enemies are never not sitting outside. The other person with whom I'm competing is not my enemy. My enemies are all within me. And that is the corollary of Bhagavad Gita, which is in the Mahabharata, Kurukshetra Yuddha, where there is a war between the righteous, the dharma and adharma, between Pandavas and Kauravas. And that is what in our own mind, similarly, there is always a war between our virtues, our vices. The vices sometimes are very powerful. They want to overpower the virtues. And that is how we keep on taking decision. So why do we need this exercise to understand what are virtues, what are vices? In this next shloka, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, Daivi Sampatti Vimokshaya. So the benefit of having Daivi Sampatti is that it leads us to liberation. Moksha, it is a cause, it is a road to divinity, it is a road to moksha. Whereas Nibandhaya Asuri Mata, he says, demonical qualities or vices or Asuri Sampatti binds us, keeps us in this world because it binds us to a lot of people, attachments, it creates a lot of moha and all these issues. And then he consoles Arjuna gives him solace, saying, "Oh Arjuna, don't worry, you are born with divine qualities. Don't think that I'm going to describe all these Asuri Sampati. That's why you are born with only Asuri Sampati. You have so many divine qualities. You should look to your greatness. You have been a great warrior. You have always been a follower of Dharma." And this is how, through Arjuna, Madhyama is telling all of us, the entire humanity, that we should not have depression, we should not think negatively, but we should see at our own strengths and also take care of our own weaknesses. So this constant tug of war between virtues and vices keeps on happening in our mind, and this is what we need to understand. So he then starts describing the vices, how a person with Asuri Sampatti lives, what is his thinking, what is his thought process, what is his action, what is his decisions. All this he describes. He says Asura, the vices, people who have vices, they don't know what is worth doing and what is not. Pravrittim, nivrittim, they don't know the difference where they should do pravritti, what they should do, what they should not do. They will just impulsively go into anything and then they have to repent for it. Na shaucham, they don't know what is purity, what is shaucha. Shaucha is like outer purity, cleanliness of our body, mind, and inner purity of our mind, our soul, how we can create this. Na acharaha, they don't know what is good acharaha, good behavior. They will act in impulsive fashion, they will sometimes harm others. Teshu satyam na vidyate, they are not honest in their words, in their actions, and they are the people who are dishonest. Most of the times, those are called Asuri Sampati. And how they think about the world, how it has come, he says, Jagata Ahu Asatyam, means that the entire world is filled with honesty. Because they are dishonest, they always feel that others are also dishonest. We see that very commonly we talk like this, that this person is very dishonest, that is person, the entire world, the entire generation is very dishonest. People generally are very dishonest. That shows all our inner vices. Essentially, apratishtam. They feel that the world is without any adhara, any pratishta, any sanskara, any support. There is no adhara just because on its own the world is going on. That's how they think. Anishwaram. They feel that there is nothing like Ishwara. There is no Lord, there is no God. Everything just happens by itself. And they feel that aparasparam sambhutam, that this world is created just by the communion of male, female, and that is how this world is going on. There is nothing else. There is nothing like Lord. There is no Ishwara. There is no adhara, nothing. And what happens with their life with such a vision? By having this kind of vision, these people, alpa buddhaya, they are people of limited intellect. Their understanding is very limited. They don't have a wide vision, a wide thinking. And nashta atmana, they are unable to achieve any higher goal in life. They just waste their life living uselessly, doing all this. Prabhavanti ugra karmana, they are involved in a lot of violence, violent actions. We see this in day in and out today. Everybody wants to resort to a lot of violence in actions, in words, in speeches. Even children playing video games, they like the violent games. So the entire people are now inclined more towards violence. And what they do jagata ahita. They damage this world, this existence. We see today that there is climate change and all the problems happening because of destruction of the nature, because we humans act recklessly without proper understanding. And what happens? Kamam ashritya dushpuram. We have endless desires. Those people who have vices, they keep on having one after the other desires. They're all selfishly driven for their own self. Damba mana madanvitaha. They are filled with hypocrisy, false sense of respect for their own self. They want too much of praise. They have a lot of ego. And with this, they are mohat, sadgrahan. With this delusion, with this moha, they are obsessed with misconceptions, illusions. All this happens because of the understanding is wrong. And this is what ashuchi vrataha. Their decisions are also not firm, not clean. Their intentions are also not clear. They will do something just to get something out of the other people. And that is how people work. And we see that today, many of us are affected by endless stress, tension in the eyes of Shri Krishna. This is also Asuri Sampatti. He says, Chintam upashrita aparimeyam apralayantam. Till their body comes to an end, till they're dead, all their life, they keep having lots of stress about what will happen. They have many fears. What will happen? What will happen? What will happen? A lot of endless stress. Kam upabhoga parama. They are always attracted to the sense pleasures, bhog and kama, endless desires. And etavat iti nishtita. They understand that this is all needs to be done in their life. Life is just meant to enjoy, just to have the sense pleasures. There is no higher goal in life. And this is what is Asuri Sampatti in the eyes of Shri Krishna. And this is what many of us are living like. Asha Pasha Shater Baddhaha. They are bound by endless thousands of desires. They are one after the other. Kama Krodha Parayanaha. They are devoted to desires, lust, and anger. Ihante Kama Bhogartham. All their actions are only for sense pleasures, not for dharma. But whatever they feel like doing, they will do it. They don't think about what will be the long-term consequences of their actions. Anyanena Artha Sanchayan. They will buy their wealth and buy their possessions. They will use any means to accumulate this wealth, and then they will indulge in the sense objects. That is what they feel that life is all about. And what is their mentality and thinking? Shri Krishna says, Idam adya maya labdam. Today I have achieved so much. Imam prapya se manoratham. And in the future I shall achieve much more. Today I have so much of wealth, and in the future I will have a lot of wealth. They feel very happy with a lot of, they look at their balance sheet and they feel happy that we have had so much of profit, so much of wealth we have accumulated, so much of profit we have made on stock markets. All this we keep feeling and feel happy about it. And we feel that tomorrow my wealth will grow. In 2 years, in 5 years, it will double. This is how we keep thinking, and these are our vices. Our scriptures explain to us that wealth is definitely important in life because it gives us the comforts, but it is not everything. We have to understand the limits of what wealth can buy. And most of the things which are most beautiful in this world are completely free of cost. They don't cost us. God has given us everything, all this free air, this forest, this greenery, this nature, this beautiful sunrise, sunset, and all this beauty of the nature is completely free given to us. Asau maya hatah shatru. They feel that today I have won over many enemies. I become successful. I have become so rich. And today still I have to defeat many others. So they feel that all the enemies are outside. They keep competing with others. Ishwar aham. I am the Almighty means they have so much of ahankara that I can do anything. And aham bhogi. I am the enjoyer. I've accumulated so much possessions and I enjoy this life. And I'm so well-to-do. They have a lot of pride for their wealth, for their family, for their home, for their large home. All this siddha aham, balavan, I'm so powerful. I, physically, mentally, emotionally, with my skills, I'm so powerful that I can win this race of life. And I'm very happy in the sense pleasures, in their own illusion. They live this life that they are very happy. Adyo Vijanavanasmi. I'm very wealthy. Vijanavanasmi. I'm coming from a very good family. All this pride they take. There is no one like me, no one Sadrusham Maya. I shall do many yagnas to become famous for all these ahankara. They do all the actions. Dasyami. I shall do lots of donations just to make sure that my name is there and my prestige increases. So for this, they do all these donations also. Mudishye. I shall attain happiness by sense pleasures. And iti ajnana vimohitaha. With this ignorance, they have a lot of moha, delusion in their mind, attachments, a lot of problems because of moha and ajnana. Aneka chitta vibhranta. Then ultimately, what are the results of these vices? Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells us there are so many obsessions. Their mind is all clouded. They cannot see clearly. They cannot take the correct decision in their life. And with this Pramana, with this Bhranti, they moha jala samavruta, they are engrossed in this web of attachment. They don't know how to come out of this web. They are all stuck and they get sucked in and in. And prasakta kama bhogeshu, they ever keep on enjoying the sense pleasures. And what do Shri Krishna says? Patanti narake ashuchau. All impure people are demoted to hell. And that is naraka, that is their gati, that is where they ultimately land up in. Ashuchi, which is impure, and that is where they are demoted. They are obsessed in Atma Sambhavita, self-praise. They always keep on saying what they have done, what they have achieved, they all keep singing our praises. Stabda, and they are always very tight. They are not flexible, they are not humble, they are a lot of pride. Dhanamana madanvita, they indulge in a lot of wealth, respect, pride. Yajante nama yagnaiste. They do yagna only for nama seka. There is no dharma behind it. Just because of they want their appreciation, they do it. Dambhena vidhi purvakam. And for show off, they do all these yagna without any vidhi, without the proper right method of doing it. And ahankaram, with this pride of oneself that I am the doer, I can do this, I have achieved so much, filled with lust and attachments, darpa, with lots of emotions and filled with many desires, and krodha, with all this, what they do? They anguish me, mam, pradishvanta. Bhagavan says, abhyasuyaka, that they anguish me inside, who is sitting inside me, they curse me. That is where I get so upset, I get pain, lot of pain. That is what these vices does. And asuya means saying vices in the dosha. And lot of us, they do this. We see wherever something good somebody does, we try to say that there is some dosh, that's why they are doing this. And this is how this is called asuya. And this is what is an asuri sampatti that we should get rid of. And how they are punished due to their nature, these people who have vices and asuri sampatti. Shri Krishna says that those who disrespect me, those who are cruel, harsh and violent to others, sansareshu naradhaman, they become like inhuman. They resort to animal behavior, they become very violent. And those involved in all these kind of ashubha activities, unpious activities, shipami asuri eva yonishu. He said, I send them to asuri yoni. Asuri yoni is this lower world, the naraka that Bhagavan has already said. And he says repeatedly, I throw them, shipami ham. Bhagavan says, I throw them repeatedly to this asuri yoni. Now, when Bhagavan says that I send them to the lower world, aham tan shipami, does not mean that God is there to punish us. God is very kind, very graceful, is equal and just to all this. And Guruji explains to us that God is never revengeful, never takes revenge because we resort to these vices. He does not take revenge, but he makes us remember that there is something called a karma phala principle, the law of karma, which is very, very just, which is very fair. What we do, we will get the result. What we reap is sow. And we get the result of whatever we do, good deeds to others, we'll get those benefits. If we do, violence or anger or hatred or all this, then we will get the same thing. And this law of karma is firmly decided by none other than the Lord for maintaining this universe. And that is how this system is maintained. And it is a just system. It is same for everyone. No one is beyond this law. Even Bhagavan, when he takes incarnation, Avtara Swarupa on this world, he has to go through this karma phala. He has to become, has to bear with so much of pain, miseries. Lord Krishna, if you see in his entire life, there was so much of misery. He was born in a prison and then he died with an arrow from a person. And he has to be also go through all these pains and miseries. So human life, there is a chance that we have a free will to do the right karma with the right understanding. And that's why we can make our next life better with our karma phala principle. That is what we need to understand. And animals don't have this opportunity because their life is just for bhoga. They cannot do better karma and have a better life in the next janama. It's a bhoga yoni. And we must realize that it is our duty, our kartavya in this human life to do the best karma, to do the best actions, make the most of this chance that we have been given so that we can make our next life better and happier. So what is their loss? Those people who have vices, they are demoted to lower species. They are all mudha. They're deluded. They don't use their intellect well. And they're demoted to the lower species in every birth upon birth, Bhagavan says. And the biggest loss for them is that they are unable to attain me. Bhagavan says, Mam aprapya. They don't attain me. Ho Kaunteya, ho Arjuna. They can't attain me because they are keep on indulging in this asuri yoni. They miss the higher goal of life. They can't attain the divinity for which this human birth is given to all of us. So that is a big missing of a chance. And human birth is an extremely rare birth. After 84 lakh, 84 lakh yoni, it is said that we get this human birth. And it is very, very rare. And that's why we should make the most of it in this life. Bhagavan also says, Trividam narakasyedam. These are the three doors to hell. He says, and they destroy our very purpose of life, our goal of life. And what are these three? Kama, that is incessant desires, which is the primary problem. And if krodha, when these desires are not fulfilled, we get a lot of anger. Tatha, he says, lobha. When desires are fulfilled, we have a greed, we want more and more, we keep having more and more. And these are the three things out of which kama is the most important. Krodha and lobha, he says, these are the three doors to hell. He says, narakasya dwaram. Tasmat, he says, etat trayam tyajet, Arjuna. So you leave all these three. Through Arjuna is telling all of us that we have to leave all this kama, krodha and lobha. These are our three major vices, out of which all other vices come. And these are the big three on which we have to focus on. And this is possible only with a lot of awareness towards this. We need to understand how they work in our life, and then we have to apply this in our life. Then only we can make our life better. And the benefit of living these three vices, Shri Krishna says, "O Arjuna, people who are devoid of these three vices, which are the door to hell, the kama, krodha, and the lobha," he says, they attain salvation, they attain shreya, which is the highest virtue. It is a freedom, the moksha by their virtues, and finally attain Ram Gati. He says the highest self, Paramatma, that is the highest Gati, that is the ultimate goal for all of us. And this is attained only when our mind becomes pure, when all these vices are not there in our mind, when there is a lot of Daivi Sampatti, where our mind is quiet, still, and this endless search for outer happiness, desires, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, all these shadaripu are destroyed, then only we can attain this higher goal of life. So coming to the end and summarizing this topic, the Asuri Sampatti, Bhagavan says, it binds us, it keeps us in this world. Not only it keeps us in this world, but it demotes us to the lower yonis, the Naraka. And how do these people work? They are dishonest in their works, in their words, in their action, and they always feel that others are also dishonest. That is how they behave. They resort to krodha, violence. Sometimes they are very harsh to others. They resort to physical, mental, or verbal violence to others, and they have endless desires. Kamavashrita, dushpuram. Dushpuram means they cannot be satisfied. They are endless. One desire is satisfied, the other comes up, and that is how we keep having endless desires. We are filled with all this damba, mana, mada, our hypocrisy, ego, and with this we have endless stress and tensions, fears of the future, what will happen. We always remember the past, what happened, and have a lot of stress about what happened to me, why I have to go through this. All this we keep asking ourselves, and this Bhagavan says, Trividam narakasyedam twaram kama krodha tatha lobha. These three are the door to hell. Tasmad detam trayam tyajet. O Arjuna, leave all these three vices, he says, and only then tato yati paramgatim. Only then we can finally attain the highest self, the final goal of our human existence. That is possible only if we can leave or let go of these vices. Then only this we can attain divinity, achieve the purity of our inner mind, and then understand what Shri Krishna is telling about in Bhagavad Gita. What is that highest divinity that we can achieve in our whole this life? So I pay my respects to the great Lord with whose grace everything is possible. I pay my respects to this Guru Shishya Parampara with whose grace all this knowledge is preserved, transmitted so as to reach us. I pay my respects to my Guruji, Pujya Guruma, with whose grace I am able to learn the scriptures and share this understanding with you. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parah Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.